Hey there everybody, I'm back again. Race number 4, I finished again. This was another USDR race. It was near Ridgecrest, and the weekend got off to an interesting start because I didn't write down the directions for round 4. I thought it was in the same place as round 3, so I drove out there, and as I was going down the hill I realized there were no trailers or campers or anything out there. I knew instantly I had the wrong place, so I had to backtrack, and I saw some guys with bikes in the back of the truck, so I followed them in. So that was dumb thing number 1. Dumb thing number 2 was I didn't check the forecast, and I thought it was saying 80 degrees for the weekend for the day, so I didn't pack any cold weather clothes. So I ended up sleeping in the truck, and the wind was so powerful it felt like, you know, people were rocking the truck at night. Saturday pre-ride went pretty well. In the first 5 miles though, there was a wreck going up the first hill climb, which you can kind of see on the helmet camera, and I got kind of mixed up in it. And right as I crested the hill, I was just going around this right-hand little off-camber thing, maybe like 4 miles an hour, and I crashed. No idea how. And that turned out to be the only off that I had all weekend, which was great. I didn't crash on Sunday. It was the first race that I'd had where I didn't crash. And believe me, it was going through my mind. Because every time I thought, oh great, you're doing really great, you haven't crashed, then I crashed. Sunday morning, I woke up at about 6, you know, in the beautiful sunrise in the desert. And, you know, looking off into the sunrise, off to the north, you could just see the black clouds and the kind of shoestrings coming out of the clouds. And I was already freezing. I actually had to turn on the truck to get my feet from being numb. And as I'm gearing up, the drizzle is starting to hit the windshield of the truck. And sure enough, I ride, you know, get warmed up and I go over the starting line and it just starts raining. I was a little bit bummed out about it at first, but then I started thinking about it, like, oh, this is awesome. No dust. And, you know, it's just going to rain for 40 minutes before it starts, so it's going to be great. Traction's going to be great. There's going to be no dust. But, you know, of course, you got to deal with being cold. As I talked about in an earlier, we did Bradshaw Trail. It's like the Bradshaw Trail is an annual adventure rider ride. Actual perfect training for this race because it was pouring rain and freezing, but like still high speed. So after getting used to the high speed racing through the desert with the wind pelting your face and the drops, like getting hit by needles and stuff, I was actually riding along laughing because it was like, Bradshaw is perfect training for this. So where guys were complaining about their hands being numb and wearing raincoats, I was like, oh, I'm totally used to this. I'm an adventure rider. To the left of me, on the starting line on the vet row, there was a guy that lined up that only had one arm. He had a normal, his right arm was normal, but he had a left. At his elbow, his arm was cut off, and he had like a perch for it on the handlebars. And I struck up a conversation with him, and he seemed like a really cool guy. It was his first race. I didn't get his name. Really, really big respect for that guy. I'm curious to hear how he did, and I hope to actually meet him and talk with him again, because in order to carry out a race like that with one arm, big respect for that guy. In the first 3 races, I was trying to pump myself up by saying, find your pace and finish. And something totally out of the blue came up this time because, you know, I've been struggling with my hand grip and being able to be strong enough to hold onto the handlebars. And as I was chatting with somebody one day, they told me, that's really stupid. Why don't you balance yourself over the handlebars instead of holding onto them? Just kind of perch over the top so you don't have to use up all your arm strength. This race, for whatever reason, it just popped into my head. Balance. Keep your balance. And then, you know, I would get really upset with myself because I would lose my balance and start to go lean forward over the handlebars or lean back, and, you know, through a whip section, if you have good balance and your throttle control is right, it's crazy how much easier it is. So as I was trying to maintain my balance, I realized how fast I was going. And I started to hit a pace that was much faster than I'm used to going, which was really good and a little bit scary because I was, you know, when you're going fast, you get into more trouble. I had a lot more confidence in this ride because it was much flatter. I mean, there's still lots of whip sections and hill climbs and descents and whatnot, but as it was going along, I was getting, my confidence was building and building, I was going faster and faster, and I was passing a lot of riders. And there was a lot of guys that were struggling to get going fast on the sand washes and stuff, and I was absolutely wide open the entire time, and up into fourth and fifth gear, 70, 80 miles an hour, passing. And I actually managed to pass a couple quads, which started on row 2, and I started on row 7. So I was getting to passing people that were starting 5 rows ahead of me. And apparently the quads are supposed to be really fast on the wide open stuff. I don't know, I don't ride a quad, so they scare me. So yeah, toward the end of the second loop, I got into a race with this guy, Ryan, Flying Ryan from the USDR board. And we went back and forth, and finally I got past him. And about the last quarter of the last loop, I was maintaining staying in front of him. And there was a scary part of the last hill climb where you'd go up and there was rocks over here, and it looked like a cliff. And I was going up that hill climb, and I went to look back to see if he was right on my tail, and I hit something, and I did a full-on Superman. My legs were up in the air, and he had a helmet cam on. And as we're going down the hill, I blew a corner and he passed me. But after the race, I went and chased him down. I said, "Hey, let me see your helmet footage, because you got this crazy over the handlebars thing." And unfortunately, he didn't. But it was really nice to finally meet somebody in the race and, you know, befriend somebody. Now I know another person because we had a fun battle in the race, which was great because I'm actually being competitive for the first time. And this was the first time that I raced, and I felt like I was using the bike to some of its potential. 30% of the bike's potential, which to me was really exciting because before I didn't feel like I was doing anything with the bike. I felt like I was just kind of riding along. For the first time, I felt like the bike was being used for what it was designed and not just as a toy or a prop. The whole balance thing has changed the way I feel. I didn't get any blisters. The hell was that? I got no blisters. I'm sore in different parts of my back than I was before. My legs aren't sore at all, but my lats and my traps are real sore this time from using more of my arms, which leads me to believe I'm actually using proper technique and not bad technique. This is the technique I'm supposed to be using while riding high-speed off-road. Tuesday, you know, 2 days after the race, I'm going down Santa Monica Boulevard and I get rear-ended by a lawnmower, a full-on industrial Toro lawnmower. And he rammed me into the back of a police car, and you know, I was a little bit sore, but even now, it's Thursday today, like I feel fine for the most part. I mean, my left arm, my finger is probably broken, and my left arm hurts a little bit, my left leg hurts a little bit. I'm still gonna go get checked out, but after my first race, it took me like 6 days before I was feeling better. I mean, the first 2 days were misery. And after this race on Monday morning, I wasn't feeling bad at all. So I'm starting to get into better shape, and I'm starting to, you know, race smarter and race better, becoming a better rider slowly. I'm gonna go do a District 37 race next month. But after, depending on how that goes, I'm debating on moving up to the intermediate class. So I would actually run, or in USDR I would run 4 laps, and in District I would run 2. So, you know, roughly 100 miles. Every single time I race, I learn a bunch, and I come out feeling better about my riding. So, but yeah, everything's going good. I will see you guys next time.